Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guys, thank you for joining me for another reading. One of the things you're going to notice is we get cards coming up time and time again. And there you go, Chris P. Spiritual Quest with Ganesh in the house yet again. When I see recurring cards, and they come up literally day after day, as we see Follow Your Heart, and then Abundance of Sothis right over there. So those three cards came up, they've come up like three times again in the last maybe 4 days. So, they're trying to get across a point, and many people have different views on exactly what we have happen with the cards. And, when you look at quantum physics, everything is just potential until we observe it. So when you're shuffling a deck with, 52 cards or even more, in this case we have 14 decks out here, the chances of getting the same cards, day after day are very, very slim. Very slim. So why do they come up time and time again? I believe that, there's a clear message here. And I believe it's the other side or our higher selves trying to hammer home some things. And in this case, the three cards are again, follow your heart. So listen, listen within, listen to what your passions and your desires are. If you are considering a major life change, a major revision in life, as Cindy and I are, and we've shared that with you guys on the lives and in some videos, we're looking at going on the road and maybe on the road full time. And so that's a huge thing. Yet that is something that I did briefly. I did for 3 months back in 2007, bought a travel trailer, enjoyed it. It was a real change for me. I'd never done it before. But, there was something about it and something about mingling with people and getting out there, seeing new places. Boy, I have such gypsy blood in me, truthfully. So it's something that I shouldn't ignore. Spiritual quest, that's the other thing. And so when we're doing things in life, are we viewing our entire life as a spiritual quest? Because that's what it really is. When you think about it, it's what it's supposed to be. Yet, for so many people, we're just tied up in the matrix. We're completely tied up in the matrix. We're tied up in this system. Again, that just keeps you thinking about money, security, food, just the basic stuff. And so many people that are in the corporate monster, which I was for decades. God, that was so horrible in so many ways. Knowing that you're feeding the machine that creates the matrix that we are in. Thankfully, so many people are getting out of this matrix. They're recognizing it for what it is. They're waking up and they're stepping out of it. And then the other card that came up several times is right here. So Abundance of Sothis. This is stellar blessings of the celestial goddess of abundance. And so, in the Vedic tradition, the goddess of abundance is Lakshmi. And sometimes they are trying to hand us something and we're not actually going ahead and grasping it. We might not even see it. Or maybe subconsciously we're pushing it away. And so we have to be reminded, accept the blessings that are coming your way because they might not look like what you think they should look like. They might be slightly different, and that is often the case. Another card actually that's come up several times in the last week or so is the creation card. And so this is the time to manifest. This is the time to make new things. This is the time to make things that really do come from the heart. Instead of making somebody else's wishes and dreams come true. You should make your own wish and dreams come true, especially if that includes, in some way, shape, or form, being in service to others and being in service to the greater good. And so this world is so twisted when we view something like communism, for instance, in a horrible negative light when, the original thought of communal living was just simply sharing without ego and greed. It's never been done right in a big scale on this planet. And of course, the communist regimes like, China's are probably well, that's definitely one of the scariest on the planet, where you could be picked up at any time, questioned, and maybe never seen again, or maybe you're going to an internment camp. But then again, here in the West, we have laws now in effect where somebody could be deemed a terrorist, and the same situation could happen where they're not ever released, picked up, and just sent somewhere for eternity. So again, and this is a quote unquote democracy, a capitalistic democracy. So again, we see it's all how we view things. Yet we also see many other cards here too. And one of them is it's definitely time for a life review. And are we on the most highest path that we could possibly be on? Or are we living a life that is not absolutely fulfilling? If it's not fulfilling and you're dreading every single day, it's time for change. Maybe that means you have to sacrifice. Maybe that means selling the big house and downsizing. So many people are doing that. There are millionaires that are selling their mansions and actually living in, well, they're glamping in some pretty fancy RVs, but nonetheless, that is just one case. So, are we being true to our highest self? When we see the card right next to it, the views of the ego, so many of us really are living an ego-based life. The vast majority are probably living an ego-based life where it's all about building ourselves up, but building ourselves up in a way of being, well, cultivating the ego instead of cultivating spirit, instead of cultivating the higher self. So it's having the wrong values. It's that following the mainstream, keeping up with the Joneses, making sure, you get that next promotion, getting that recognition from the big corporation or your boss, that type of thing. Ego never serves the higher self. It's in service to itself. And unfortunately, this is a matrix, a world that is all about cultivating the ego. And that's how they've been able to manipulate us in so many ways. So again, now is time for unity. This is time to get past that. It's time to get past so many things that no longer serve us. And one of the best things we could do is to reach out and connect with people that are vibrating on the same wavelength as you. And you're going to probably have to give up some friends if you want to continue your spiritual growth, because you're going to find that people they don't progress at the same pace. Everybody is on their own unique path, and sometimes it could be even family members that you just must agree to disagree with. And it doesn't mean you have to kick them out of your life, but you're going to find that there's certain energies that will not be tolerable anymore. Simply not tolerable. There is a wealth of natural abundance out there. There are so many beautiful benevolent beings on the higher realms around us, but also perhaps in the denser realms, as we were talking about the elementals, the nature spirits in last night's live a little bit as well. And, these beings will work with you as well. And it all depends on where you are at as far as your own personal vibration. So operating out of a center of compassion, love, and, truly having the best wishes for all in your heart. Doing whatever it is you do out of a sense of gratitude and love and appreciation. As we see the medicine horse, it is a long path, but we can make steady progress on this path. And for many, it could be tougher than for some others. Everyone is on their own unique path. Another card that came up several times is Agni, which is the god of fire. And again, this is about true knowledge, and yet worldly riches as well. So we don't have to be aesthetics. Like, we don't have to be the the monks that were basically starving themselves out in the woods when Buddha met them. And Buddha went out there, and he basically, he did their way, and then he found, I don't have to do that way. I don't have to give up everything that's fun, everything that's good in life. I can enjoy life. I could take the middle path. I don't have to go to extremes, because he was a prince, the son of a king and a very wealthy person, and he threw it all away and renounced it, went to the other extreme. And then after his enlightenment, he realized he could tread the middle path. He doesn't have to go to either extreme. So he could have abundance of sorts. And of course, as we change on our journey, abundance will look different to us. It might no longer be a certain size house or a certain car or a certain number in your bank account. It could be completely different. It could be having the right friends. It could be, living the right type of life that feels right in your soul and your heart. And so, this is all about creation. This is all about manifestation. It's all about being true to self. And as we see the truth card, everybody's truth is different. Everybody's truth is different. Do you think we live in an objective reality or a subjective reality? Because we learn from quantum physics, it's all about the observer. So perhaps each of us is living our own version of reality. Perhaps there is no exact right path. There's just a million different choices, a myriad of choices. It's up to each to decide what path they're going to walk and what that's going to look like. As we see the Devil card, many have wanted to judge others. Many are quick to judge others and quick to point out others' apparent faults. Or perhaps they're pointing out the decadence that others are apparently living in when some are not. But yet, again, this is about the individual truth as well. And when we think about the witch hunts and all that, so much of that was just complete fabrication and manufacturing of things in order to, again, instill fear in the people, to get rid of people that were troublesome to the bigger, operation underway. And to effectively control the minds and hearts of people. And so many people are still controlled in their minds and their hearts by this fundamentalist mindset that has been cultivated in order to control and consolidate power into the hands of the few. And we saw evidence of that last night in the live as well. And so, we're at the point now where we have to let some people out of our inner circle for sure, if they're just not going to progress, if they're just going to hinder our progress. You'll have to simply, part ways in many cases, because as we know, we can't convince everybody of our way. And of course, there are those out there that are always trying to convince you of their way. We see that all the time. So it's best to agree to disagree and allow each other to progress in their own time frame on their own path. And then we see the Judgment card, which for so many is something that feels foreboding and something that's going to be ominous. But this is really, it's all about transformation. It's all about letting go. It's about becoming the new and letting go of the old. As we see the old world around us crumbling away, a new is going to manifest. And what's going to manifest is going to be very different than the dark age that we are now in. And so many will be lifted up into such an exalted state of being, even here on this earth. As the earth is changing, as we see with the Schumann resonance, the actual consciousness of the earth is in a state of transition, as is each one of us. So that is a great blessing as we see again the abundance that is right here in front of us, right now. As long as we can live our lives up to its highest potential, one that is right for you and your heart, not somebody else's. Again, it's all about going within and finding your own personal truth. As always, my friends, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. God bless and namaste.